Hi students,
Good evening, ma'am.
good evening. Today, I guess what we discussed about some parts of the evolution, how this is connected to genetics, and also what is epigenetics. I told a lot of times that epigenetics is something which is beyond genetics, right? And different techniques or different mechanisms of these epigenetics we have discussed about these things. Now we have many more things to discuss about evolution that we will discuss in our next class. Today we will talk about a very like colorful phase of molecular biology, which is CRISPR. So do you have any idea about CRISPR, or at least today? And it's 28th February 2021. On this day, at least this technique or the name CRISPR-Cas9 is very much famous. So do you have any idea what is CRISPR-Cas9, or why this is so much famous, or this is so much, say, you can say this is a very hot topic of molecular biology? So why this is so? Any idea? Anyone?
Mom, this technique has won Nobel Prize in 2020.
Good, very good. So these are the two persons, two ladies, just wait, Emmanuel and Jennifer. These two scientists, they got Nobel Prize in 2020 for the development of a method of genome editing. Okay, so this is a very powerful and versatile technique, and today we will discuss this spatial biotechnological tool that is being used commonly nowadays. The work has started since late 19s, okay, and the work progressed in 2001, 2002. Gradually the work progressed, and after all the experiments and all, we are actually seeing the result. Now we know that DNA is the genetic material, and it contains all the information written into it. Now scientists, why this is so much important, why scientists are so much interested in this CRISPR-Cas9 system, because scientists tried a lot to manipulate the genetic material, because we want to study the mechanisms or the functions of the gene in specific organisms. Now the revolutions, that is this CRISPR-Cas9, that actually sees the scientific community, because within only a few years of research they have adapted this new technology, and they have compared, if you can compare the previous techniques like DNA modification, different techniques which scientists use in the lab for the modification of the DNA molecule. This is a much faster and the easier process. So this technology is referred to as CRISPR, and it has changed not only the way basic research is conducted, but also the way we can now think about treating diseases also, because you can, if you want to say silence a gene, if you want to delete a particular gene of your interest, you can actually use this CRISPR-Cas system and delete this particular gene, and you can observe the effect of the particular gene. Maybe if it is a disease causing gene, and you can delete that particular disease causing gene or the defected DNA molecule, and it will result in the curing of that particular disease. So this is the CRISPR, which is a much faster technology, and you see it actually can be used in DNA of human, animals and plants, and I have mentioned that this is a faster and easier method. So what is CRISPR? CRISPR stands for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeat. This is CRISPR. Okay, this is the acronym for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. So before going into much deeper, so let's discuss very briefly about the history of CRISPR. This revolutionary technique that started from 1987, okay, when an unusual repetitive DNA sequence, which subsequently was defined as a CRISPR, was discovered in E. coli genome during an analysis of genes involved in phosphate metabolism. And the group of scientists who did this was from Osaka University. Next report was found in 1993 from a researcher group of Netherlands, and they published 2 articles about this cluster of interrupted direct repeats in Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And they have also recognized the diversity of the sequence that intervene the direct repeats among different strains of this Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Next, the major advance that was found in 2001-2002 when similar repeated sequences they were identified by Mosica and co-workers in Archaea halopherax, in the halopherax genome. Okay, and next in 2002 they have published a lot of scientific literature about this work on the genomes, on the CRISPR repeats. And next it was 2011-2012 when Emmanuel studied the Streptococcus pyogenes, one of the bacteria that actually caused the most harm to humanity. She discovered a previously unknown molecule which is tracer RNA. Her work showed that this tracer RNA is a part of this bacteria's ancient immune system, and CRISPR-Cas, he used that particular system to disarm the viruses by cleaving their DNA, and she published her work in 2011. In another experiment, Charpentier and Doudna reprogrammed the genetic Caesars, and in their natural form the Caesars actually recognize the DNA from viruses, but the 2 scientists, they proved that they could be controlled so that they can cut any DNA molecule as a predetermined site. And this is the reason that the academy highlights that since Charpentier and Doudna discovered the CRISPR-Cas9 genetic Caesars in 2012, their use has exploded. This tool has contributed to many important discoveries in basic research and clinical trials of new cancer therapies nowadays. Okay, so basically it has started, but as I have told you that it has started in late 19s, but it actually already present in the genome of some bacteria, this CRISPR-Cas system, because as we progress you will see that this CRISPR is necessary for the bacterial immunity against viral infections. They actually have this CRISPR-Cas system in order to immune themselves or in order to save themselves from viruses. And scientists, and why this system is so much popular in basic research, because scientists nowadays using this technique, you are using this genetic tool in order to manipulate the DNA molecules. So this is the application of the particular system that was already existed in bacterial genome. So let's talk about this CRISPR-Cas system. So this is the this figure actually shows how this CRISPR, I have told that this CRISPR actually responsible for bacterial immunity, how this actually gives this immunity. The sequence, the name actually clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, and this name refers to the unique organization of some short partially palindromic repeated DNA sequences found in the genome of bacteria and other microorganisms. Now, these sequences are a crucial component of immune systems of these simple life forms, as they are responsible for protecting an organism's health and well-being. So, what actually they do?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Tell.
Ma'am, some of them are waiting.
Yeah,
Just
I am
accept,
admitting
ma'am.
them. Yeah, I have admitted them.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the sequences were already inside the bacterial genome in order to give them or in order to boost their immunity against viral attacks. So what actually they do? So just like us, bacterial cells can be invaded by different viruses, and which are small infectious agents. You know about coronavirus. So if a viral infection threatens a bacterial cell, the CRISPR immune system can counter the attack by destroying the genome of the invading virus. And how? The genome of virus includes genetic material that is necessary for the virus to continue replicate. Thus, by destroying the viral genome, the CRISPR immune system actually protects the bacteria from ongoing viral infections. Okay, because I guess you guys read about the viral life cycles. There are two different life cycles: lysogeny, lytic cycle, and lysogeny cycle. So any one viruses actually incorporate the genome inside the bacterial cells. So if you can if the bacteria can destroy that particular viral genome, the viral particle wouldn't be able to replicate and wouldn't be able to multiply and form different viruses. So the main aim to boost or to build their immunity against viruses is to delete the viral genome that actually the virus is injecting inside the bacterial cells. Now these CRISPR regions, these regions in the bacterial genome that help to defend against invading viruses, they are composed of short DNA repeats. You can see these black colored diamonds, these are the short DNA repeats, okay, and the spacer molecules are these colored boxes. Now when a previously unseen virus infects a bacterium, the CRISPR sequence is transcribed and processed to generate short CRISPR RNA molecules. This CRISPR RNA associates with guide bacterial molecular machinery to a matching target sequence in the invading virus, and it can actually destroy the viral genome. So these interspaced these DNA molecules, these short DNA repeats of bacterial CRISPR, these interspersed between these short DNA repeats of bacterial CRISPRs, they are similarly short variable sequences called spacers. So these black diamonds are the spacer molecules, and these spacers are derived from DNA of viruses that were previously attacked. So basically these spacer molecules, see the virus actually attacking the bacterial cell, it is actually incorporating its genome in the bacterial cell. Now from this genome, the bacteria will transcribe it and it will find a new spacer. This new spacer they have derived from a newly invading virus, and now this spacer molecule that will be incorporated in the CRISPR locus of the bacteria. and I told these black diamonds are the DNA repeats, and among these DNA repeats there are different spacer molecules. All these colored boxes, the spacer molecules that are coming from different viral particles. Okay, so depending on different viral genome, they are actually making this spacer molecule and incorporating this inside this CRISPR genome. Now once they have the memory, you can tell it as a memory. So once, if it is a newly invading organism, newly invading virus, so the spacer will be incorporated in the CRISPR locus. Now if this virus is not a new one, it has already known to this bacterial cell. Now what they will do, they will actually transcribe this CRISPR locus and form this CRISPR RNA from this spacer sequence, and this CRISPR RNA that would be guided by the guiding machinery of bacterial genome. The guiding machinery that contains different guide RNA and nuclease enzymes, etc., DNA nuclease enzymes. So what they will do, they will guide this CRISPR RNA, and this CRISPR RNA will now go, as you can see that this CRISPR sequence or this spacer sequence, that is something which is complementary to this viral genome. So this will go and bind to the complementary region of the viral genome, and as a result of the binding of this CRISPR RNA with the complementary region of the viral genome, that will form an RNA DNA complex, and this RNA DNA complex then will be recognized by the guiding machinery of the bacterial genome that also already contains another particular RNA as well as the nuclease enzymes, and these nuclease enzymes actually degrade the DNA molecules, that is the viral genome, and the virus won't be able to survive. So this is the how this CRISPR actually works in the bacterial cells. So this, you can say, this spacer actually serves as the genetic memory of previous infections. Now if another infection by the same virus should occur, the CRISPR defense system will cut up any viral DNA sequence matching the spacer sequence and thus protect the bacterium from viral attack. Now if a previously unseen virus attacks that I have told, that a new spacer is made and added to the chain of the spacer and repeats, and then it will, for the next time, it will act as the genetic memory. So for this whole process to give the immunity of the CRISPR immune system, these actually the whole process contains three basic steps. First is the adaptation. Adaptation is the process in which the DNA from an invading virus that is processed into short segments, because this is a newly invading organism, so the genome is not familiar with this microbes, so it will actually process it and then insert the spacer in its CRISPR locus as a new spacer. Next is the production of the CRISPR RNA. This is the next step. The CRISPR repeats and spacers in the bacterial DNA that undergo transcription, and you know what is transcription. Now after the transcription, this is the, they actually after the transcription they will form a single chain RNA molecule, and this RNA chain is cut into short pieces called CRISPR RNA, as you can see from the figure. And third step is targeting. Targeting is CRISPR RNAs guide bacterial molecular machinery to destroy the viral genome, because CRISPR RNA sequences are just directly copied from that of the DNA sequence of that invading virus during the adaptation process. So they are exact matches to the viral genome and thus serves as the excellent guide. So this is the basic principle that is actually happens inside the bacterial cell in order to build the immunity against these viruses. Now before going into deep, we will look about the CRISPR, or how actually this CRISPR locus looks like, and what are actually they contains, it contains different genes. You can see the CRISPR contains the initial portion, it contains some Cas genes. Cas stands for CRISPR associated system or Cas. So this accumulation of genomic sequences in the beginning of this system, that is actually known as the Cas. They actually form some different proteins. These Cas genes, after translations, they actually give some different proteins which is necessary for this CRISPR Cas system to work, or CRISPR system to work. You have often heard about that. When we talk about CRISPR, we always say CRISPR Cas. So Cas stands for this CRISPR associated systems or different genes which is responsible. There are 4 genes, Cas 1, 2, 3 and 4, and these are actually very common. These, and you can see Cas 1 actually encodes integrase, 2 encodes for DNA polymerase, and 3 encodes for helicase, as 4 encodes for Regbi-like nuclease. So these are 4 different Cas proteins which are required. These were the initially isolated 4 Cas proteins. There are various different Cas proteins are now already they have identified, but these are 4 initially identified Cas proteins which are necessary for this CRISPR to work. Now next is the leader sequence. You can see now leader actually carry conserved sequence motif, currently of unknown function though. Now what actually these leader sequences do, this leader sequence actually contains the specific promoters for this CRISPR transcription process, that actually contains the promoter region. And next is the repeat spacer array. So repeats and spacers, you can see the gray boxes are the repeats, okay, and the separated colors, these are the spacers, and they function by accumulating in prokaryotic genome an array of spacer or the fragments of viral DNA from previous attack. I have already shown this kind of figure before. So now by matching the spacer for corresponding parts of viral DNA called protospacer, there is some portions which is known as the protospacer which is also necessary. The CRISPR-Cas system, actually this protospacer, a CRISPR-Cas system identifies and destroys intruded DNA molecule. Now adaptation generally involves the capture of foreign DNA and incorporation of DNA into the host locus, where the DNA fragments are then referred to as spacer, and the spacer sequences actually acts as the memory of corresponding sequence within the foreign genome, which is known as the protospacer. Now the foreign DNA must undergo processing steps prior to integration, during which time it is referred to as the pre-spacer. Now each integrated sequence, that is the spacer, that is separated from next spacer by a short identical repeat, sometimes palindromic. Okay, and after the addition of a new spacer, it has shown that DNA repair machinery fills in DNA gaps and ensures faithful duplication of the CRISPR repeats, such that a full repeat spacer unit is added to the CRISPR locus. Now it is essential that both the sequence and the length of the new repeat be preserved, since CRISPR repeats function both at the RNA level in CRISPR RNA biogenesis function and at the DNA level, as they are the recipient site for addition of new spacer at the CRISPR locus. So this is the region that the bacteria actually should make it sure that the length of the new repeat that should be preserved. Okay, because as I have mentioned, it actually functions in both RNA and DNA level. You saw from the picture that before that it is actually transcribed into CRISPR RNA, which is necessary to guide the RNA molecules or to guide the bacterial machinery for binding with that of the viral genome. So this is the RNA level work. And DNA level work, because the newly invading organisms has to give the space for the newly invading organisms, or the spacer that is derived from the newly invading organisms. So both DNA and RNA level, that is, so it works in both the systems. So it actually has to be very much preserved. Okay, so this is what I have told. This is the adaptation process. You see the viral genome invading viral genome, and the bacterial system actually transcribed a particular portion of this viral genome that actually recognized by this bacterial system, which is known as the protospacer, and now they have transcribed this portion, processed this portion as that, and in this spacer actually being integrated in the CRISPR locus of bacterial genome. And all of these, you can see, this is the Cas genes, and this is the leader sequence that contains the promoter for the transcription of this CRISPR locus. Now this complete CRISPR locus that is transcribed completely, and next these will be actually segmented into different CRISPR RNA. You see all these CRISPR locus, they are actually transcribed in one stretch, and then the processing will be done, from where we will get separate CRISPR RNA molecules. Now if this particular this is the CRISPR RNA associated with different effector complex, that is different molecular machinery of bacterial cells. Now if this particular invading organism that actually invades again, this has the complementary region, because this microbe or this bacteria actually derived the sequence from the virus itself, viral genome itself. So it will go and bind to the complementary site of this viral genome, and this machinery actually chew up this process. Now this, I have mentioned that one of the Cas gene that includes that encodes nuclease. So there are nucleases present, and that will actually cut that, and all this actually molecular machinery of which are associated with these CRISPR genes or CRISPR RNA, that actually coming from the Cas proteins itself. Now this CRISPR, depending on their type of work, how they actually process the DNA molecule, what are different proteins they are associated with this CRISPR system. Depending on this, there are 3 different kinds of CRISPR: type 1, type 2 and type 3. In case of type 1, there are various, you can see 1, 2, 7 and 3 different Cas proteins are necessary. Now if you see all of these figures of different types of CRISPR proteins, you will be able to see that Cas1 and Cas2 is necessary for all the processes in all different CRISPR Cas system. Cas1 and Cas2, these are actually very, very important one. And Cas2 and Cas1, these are actually core components which is required for the spacer integration in vivo and in vitro in nearly all CRISPR systems examined to date. So this is the reason that all of these 3 type of these CRISPR Cas system, Cas1 and 2 are present, because they are the core enzymes. And Cas1, I have already mentioned that Cas1 actually functions as the integrase, and it catalyzes the spacer integration into the CRISPR repeat, while Cas2 appears to serve the role of, it has a structural role in the formation of stable Cas1, Cas2 integrase complex. Okay, although this Cas1 and Cas2, they are the most highly conserved Cas proteins, Cas1 and 2 genes sequence may vary, and Cas1 genes variability is one important basis for classifying CRISPR-Cas systems into types and subtypes. Now, sequence differences between Cas1 and 2 proteins likely underlie observed functional variability observed for integration in distinct CRISPR-Cas systems. So, this is the main difference between these three Cas systems. Now, you see in our daily life, now this is till now what we have learned, what is CRISPR, what is CRISPR-Cas system, how the CRISPR locus look like, how they actually work, why they are necessary, because they give or they impart the bacterial immunity against viral genome. That is actually already present in the nature, and we have studied about these things, what are different machinery that is necessary for this CRISPR-Cas system and all. Now, you know why already present, this mechanism is already present in nature, but this is not why this CRISPR now is a hot topic. We know that CRISPR-Cas system actually has immense importance in molecular biology because this is surprisingly an important, a faster and easier tool to edit the genome. Not only a bacterial genome or viral genome, it can manipulate the genome of a plant, human, anything. So what is its application? How this system, which is merely to build immunity of bacteria against viruses, how it can be used to manipulate the genes of different organisms, different, say, even in human, how this can be used. For this, actually we generally use this type 2 CRISPR-Cas system, which actually includes three different Cas proteins, Cas1, Cas2 and Cas9 here. Okay, and now onwards we will talk about the system, how this is actually working, or how we can use this to manipulate the genome. We will talk about this type 2 CRISPR-Cas system. So this is the basic of CRISPR-Cas system. You can see the middle one, this is the CRISPR-Cas protein that actually degrades the DNA RNA, or the basic working principle is same for all, but depending on this type, depending on the Cas proteins, there are different types and subtypes of this CRISPR system, and for our use we use this type 2 CRISPR-Cas system. And nucleases, in case of type 2, nuclease RUVC and non-homologous end joining, this together produces double-stranded breaks and separately can produce single-stranded breaks, ensures the acquisition of functional spacer during adaptation. Now, this is the CRISPR-Cas system we actually use. Now, what are the different say components? You can make it say as components. So, what are different components, or how this genome editing carried out? Before knowing about that, we should know about different components of this genome editing. The system includes Cas9. You can see the fourth one, the Cas9, which is the enzyme whose active site is able to modify the DNA molecules. Another component is cRNA, that contains the guide RNA that locates the correct segment host DNA along with the region that binds to tracer RNA. Tracer RNA generally a hairpin loop, I will talk about it later. And the third component is tracer RNA that actually binds to cRNA to form an active complex. This tracer RNA and cRNA, these two actually binds together to form an active complex which is known as the guide RNA, and is an SG molecule. You can see this is the single guide RNA. They are combined RNA consisting of tracer RNA and at least one cRNA I have mentioned, and another is the repairing template, the DNA molecules used as a template in the host cells DNA repair process, allowing insertion of specific DNA sequence actually to mend the broken DNA strand, okay, which was done by the Cas9, the main enzyme of this CRISPR or type 2 CRISPR-Cas system. So see, this is actually the CRISPR-Cas9 helps in the genome editing. Now, how they actually work? If you see, there is this is the gene of interest that you want to delete by this CRISPR-Cas system in a particular genome. So how will you do that? Well, so how will you do that? See, this is the CRISPR target sequence. Always there is a PAM sequence. PAM sequence stands for protospacer adjacent motif. You can see the green one is the PAM sequence or protospacer adjacent motif. So first you will just identify this PAM sequence, and once you have identified this PAM sequence, now you will take this as your CRISPR target sequence. Now this will form the cRNA, CRISPR target sequence. Now if you see, from here you will just design a cRNA that contains the particular sequence of your target gene of interest. Now you have say selected different genes. Now you have actually made now different cRNA. All of these cRNA that contains those particular sequences which is from your gene of interest that you want to delete, and you have to design another tracer RNA. Now this tracer RNA and cRNA that actually together forms the sgRNA or single guide RNA, and you have Cas9, the gene for Cas9 protein also. Now say I don't know whether you have worked in lab or not, or you have any idea about cloning or not, but if you say want to express some genes, or if you want to purify a particular protein, first you have to clone that particular gene inside a plasmid, and you have to introduce that plasmid to a bacterial genome. Likewise, when I want to use this particular CRISPR-Cas system in order to delete a particular gene, we will first make a plasmid that actually contains this cRNA, or which is the sequence or the part of the sequence that actually I want to delete, the gene that I want to delete. From that I have chosen a particular portion which forms the cRNA and the tracer RNA, and this tracer RNA cRNA forms the sgRNA. This sgRNA along with the Cas9 protein, the gene which is responsible for translating the Cas9 protein, the particular gene sequence, all of these they are incorporated in a plasmid, they are cloned into a plasmid, and next that particular plasmid that is transferred into the target cell, the bacterial cell. Now in the bacterial cell, plasmid is self-replicating DNA molecule, so it can replicate and form, it can express. Now after the expression, the Cas9 gene will express or code for this Cas9 protein. I have already incorporated the tracer RNA, so that will be transcribed forming this tracer RNA and cRNA, and now this tracer RNA, cRNA, Cas9 protein, all of these they will join together to form an active complex, CRISPR active complex. Now the binding genome, say when it forms the CRISPR active active complex. Now if you want to delete a particular gene of interest in bacterial genome, say, this will go, okay, this will go and this will bind to the particular gene that you actually desired to delete, because you have chosen your cRNA sequence in such a way that it will only or specifically go and bind to the particular gene of interest or the gene that you want to delete. So this active complex will go and bind, basically this cRNA molecule that will go and bind to the complementary region of the gene that you wished to delete, and now this whole complex will be there binding with this DNA molecule. Once they bind there, the Cas9 protein will be active. It has a nucleus activity, so it will go and cut this DNA molecule, and the system will be released from the DNA. So after the cleavage of the DNA molecule, there will be a gap which will be filled up by the say non-homologous or end joining or homologous recombination processes, etc., by different recombination machinery of bacterial genome or the system itself. So this is the process how you can use this particular gene of interest, or but you can use this CRISPR-Cas system in order to delete a particular gene of your interest. So this process clear to you, what I have told, how this CRISPR-Cas system is used to manipulate the DNA molecule or delete the DNA molecule?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the PAM sequence, the PAM sequence also determines the overall DNA targeting space for Cas9, and generally they actually chose the NGG sequence as the PAM sequence. Okay. Now what happens if you want to, now you saw that this cRNA, you have to design this cRNA yourself, otherwise you won't be able to create that single guide RNA, and you won't be able to delete a particular genome. So okay, before going into this, okay, let's talk about the benefits of this CRISPR-Cas system. You can actually, there are different steps by which you can actually, or the different benefits of this system. One is, it can be found or it can be used as a widespread tool for gene editing. You can use this system to cleave RNA and for RNA reprogramming. Third one, it can be used to detect mutations or single nucleotide variations. And last but not the least, you can use this method to test, to diagnose, as well as to cure several diseases. Now, how you will make this guide RNA? You have to make this guide before going, or before making this guide RNA, you have to choose the cRNA molecule and you have to make it. So this okay, so in order to make this single guide RNA, you can make it manually, or there are different web-based software by which you can make this sgRNA or single guide RNA molecule. Okay. Now this Sg molecule or single guide RNA molecule, that consists of two regions. You can see one is the constant region, which is known as the tracer RNA or a scaffold region, and this is the region which binds to the Cas9 protein. So this is the constant one. Another portion is the variable region, that is cRNA, which is around say 20 nucleotide sequence that is homologous to a region of your gene of interest, and that will actually direct this constant region bound Cas9 nuclease to go there, to bind there, and to degrade the DNA. Now this sgRNA that can be designed manually. So I will talk about these steps, how you can make this sgRNA. So just take this as a sequence. Now I have mentioned that PAM is the protospacer adjacent motif in your gene of interest, and it depends on the bacterial origin of Cas9, because I have told that this Cas9, which is the signature of type 2 CRISPR system, that actually requires a PAM sequence, a protospacer adjacent motif, okay, to bind and to work. So for its activity, first you have to choose the PAM sequence depending on the Cas9 from where the Cas9 enzyme is isolated. Now the most common Cas9 that is actually used in the laboratory, they are from Streptococcus pyogenes, and this enzyme actually recognizes the PAM sequence NGG. You see, I have written here the PAM sequence TGG. T can be any nucleotide, I told NGG. So N could be any nucleotide and 2 G's there. So step 2 will include, after identifying this PAM sequence, now you have to determine which is the 5' end and which is the 3' end. So once you have detected what is the 5' end, you will count 20 nucleotides towards this 5' end, because I have already mentioned this variable region is around 20 nucleotides long. So you will have to search 20 nucleotides, say, from this PAM sequence. This is the 5' end. So towards 5' end you have to choose, or you have to count 20 nucleotides. These 20 nucleotides make up our cRNA, and it is next added to the tracer RNA in order to make the full sgRNA. Now the PAM sequence is not in the cRNA. You see, I told us 20 nucleotide sequence, and this PAM sequence is not present. See, this is the 20 nucleotide sequence. From here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So up to this G, starting from this G at the 5' end, from this G of 3' end, but this PAM sequence is not included in this variable region or this cRNA. Okay, and the PAM sequence, if now see, if the PAM sequence is present, say this is the in the forward strand, if the PAM sequence is in the reverse strand, then you will just take the towards 3' end, you will have to choose the 20 sequences which will be included in the variable region. Now this PAM sequences, say in case of human genome, that is very common. This NGG sequence actually occurs in every 8 to 10 base pairs in the human genome, because you can ask that if it is not a very common one, how can I delete a particular genome? So for this answer, this is an example, just as an example, that human genome, it contains, say, after 8 to 10 base pairs, it contain a particular NGG sequence. So it is recommended to design 4 to 5 sgRNA, and then we will check which one is more potent in Cas9 mediated cleavage. So I have told that this is the offline or the manual process by which you can actually choose the cRNA regions. You can design the guide RNA. There are different softwares which can be used. So this is again just for the recapitulation. You have designed this guide RNA or sgRNA, and next you will clone this along with this Cas9 system inside a plasmid, and when you are introducing it in a plasmid inside the host cell, and introducing the particular plasmid inside the host cell, that particular genes will be transcribed, that will give rise to this sgRNA and Cas9 complex, and then that will actually go, and this Cas system that actually find this PAM sequence and sgRNA that contains the complementary region that already you have designed, this complementary region of your interest for or against the gene of your interest. It will go and bind to the particular gene. Now the molecular scissors that will actually cleave the DNA molecules, and there will be a gap between the particular in this genome. So this gap actually due to the deletion of the particular gene of interest that actually you have done, and the recombination machinery that will come, and it will result in non-homologous end joining and the continuity of the DNA molecule. So there are different softwares available. ChopChop is one of the software. You can see there are different softwares also. So this is the very famous one. So say this was done for the COVID-19 viral S protein. So if you choose to delete that particular gene which actually encodes this S protein, see, if you do that, you will give the sequence, and you will get this target sequence that actually should be used to guide your cRNA. This could be the target sequence. Okay, you can take this to make your guide RNA, and once you get the target sequence, now you have the target sequence, but you don't know that how to use it, or how to, like, how we will get that. You know what is target sequence, but you have to get the sequence. Now to get it, if you give this target sequence, then the software will give you the primers, the forward primer and the reverse primer, which will help you to amplify the particular sequence, and then you can use it along with the, or you can use it to clone it inside a plasmid. So this is the basic things of this say software. Now do you have any idea about Lulu and Nana? Do you know who are they? They are two twin girls. They born in October 2018, and they are famous because they are the first genome edited human babies, Lulu and Nana. It was done in 2018 by Jiankui. He Jiankui he is from the University of China. Okay, so his intention was like to help people with fertility problems, specifically involving HIV positive fathers and HIV negative mothers, and he actually offered a couple to rectify the genome of their babies. He worked with the embryos and edited with the embryos of their CCR5 gene in an attempt to confer genetic resistance to HIV. They took the sperm and the egg, performed in vitro fertilization, and from that embryo they have actually edited the using this CRISPR-Cas system, this CCR5 gene, which is responsible for the chemokine receptor type 5. It's a protein. It actually translates a protein or codes for a protein which is necessary or essential for HIV infection of white blood cells by acting as a co-receptor of HIV. So if you can delete this gene, it will be like the persons or the babies won't be or will not be affected by HIV, never ever. So it was his intention, but what happened, he couldn't make a complete or a healthy genome edited human baby. They were found to, like, there were different problems, there were mutations. What happened? There were Lulu and Nana. Both of them, they are carrying incomplete CCR5 mutation due to this CRISPR-Cas genome editing. Lulu carries a heterozygous mutation in CR5 that has a 15 base pair frame shift in frame deletion, while Nana carries a homozygous mutant gene with a 4 base pair deletion and a single base insertion. This indicates that the babies do not have the typical CCR5 delta 32 mutation and that they are still prone to infection. Okay, not only infection, this genome editing of the embryo of Lulu and Nana actually ruined their life because they have inadvertently had their brains altered, because this CCR5 gene is linked to improve the memory function in mice. So maybe it has some related memory function in human too. That is the reason this CCR5 mutation, which is basically an incomplete mutation that resulted in the brain development alteration in Lulu and Nana. And the striking thing is that this particular scientist did not publish his work of genome editing of human babies in any of the scientific journals. He has just did the work, and later his work was found in YouTube's, in videos, and that is the reason the scientist community referred him as a rogue scientist, or the Dr. Frankenstein of China, or the mad genius. Okay, so this is actually a very widespread and very interesting, very easy, fast, very manipulating. These are different objectives you can use for this CRISPR-Cas system in molecular biology techniques. Yet there are some problems. You cannot use it on humans. I told before starting this class that it can be used to manipulate the human genome also. Well, you can do this, but before doing that you have to study the background also. You cannot delete a particular gene of your interest. You have to study the effect of the gene very carefully, and then only you can use, because a particular gene has several different functions other than a particular one. So you see, this is the version. This is actually the scientists say about after this Lulu and Nana scenario. They have said that you opposed to any clinical operations of human embryo genome editing for reproductive purposes in violation of laws, regulations and ethical norms in the absence of full scientific evaluation, because the scientist did not publish any of his work in any scientific journal. In the rapidly developing area of genome editing technology, our scientific community should uphold the highest standards of bioethics in undertaking responsible biomedical research and applications, and uphold our scientific reputation, the basic dignity of human life and the collective integrity of our scientific community. The Chinese government prohibits genetic manipulation of human gametes, zygotes and embryos for reproductive purposes. So it can be used, but you have to check all the things before using this, because this is a very good technique, yet this is the worst technique. If you use it to, it can, if if you misuse it, it can destroy the life of a particular organism. So you have to be very careful. Otherwise, this is an excellent tool in molecular biology compared to other technologies by which you can actually manipulate the genome of an organism. Okay, so that's all for today. So is it clear today's class? Everyone understood what I have taught you today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will send you all the reading materials today, or maybe tomorrow I will send you all the reading materials. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So next class will be